Good morning and welcome to another episode of Moms in Real Estate in the Morning. Today, Kristen is on vacation, so you just have myself, but you also have one of our trusted vendor partners, Caitlin, who I am so excited to have today because, as many of you know, I'm actually still a producing agent. I've always been a producing agent alongside building my business. And one of the areas I'm personally excited, so this is a little selfish, Caitlin, but I'm personally excited, is to build out YouTube. And so today, what we're going to be talking about, well, Caitlin is going to actually be teaching us today. So she's going to do a masterclass and you're going to go over, we just had this conversation. So I said, Caitlin, you're going to go over and show us how to generate 3 to 5 leads a week on YouTube. And what did you say?
20 leads a week.
I was like, wait, what? So 20 leads a week. And one thing that Caitlin's going to talk about, and I don't want to get too far ahead, but she's going to talk about how these leads look so different than a cold called lead. And so she's going to go over our YouTube attraction formula, kind of play and plug lead magnets. But really, she's going to help us to build YouTube to be your real estate success. And so friend, I'm going to let you take over because you have all the goods. And if you are in the room, so this is streaming on multiple platforms, and then we also have people in the room. So if you're in the room, do go ahead and keep your comments posted. And Caitlin will either pause or at the end, she'll take care of all of those. But make sure you drop all your questions for her. And friend, I'm going to let you take it away.
Sounds good. Well, thank you so much, Randy. I'm so excited to be here. I love the Moms in Real Estate group. And if you guys do drop questions along the way, I'm not sure if I'll see them. So, we can get to them at the end for sure. Or Randy, if you want to interrupt and shout things out, that's totally fine too. So,
yes. And Caitlin, I'm so sorry. Would you also make sure that you tell them about, I want them to understand that you're also in the trenches. I think it's so different when people teach from the benches versus the trenches. So can you just tell everybody as you start, and you might already be in your presentation, but just a little bit about what your business looks like?
For sure. Yeah. So I am in the Phoenix, Arizona area. I'm with Real Broker, and I have a team of 8 of us total throughout the Phoenix metro area. And the majority of my leads come from YouTube. And so one of the reasons that I built this team is because of the amount of leads that I get through YouTube. It's just beyond what I'm able to take on myself. And so since really kind of building up my YouTube channel, not only have I been able to build a team, but I recently brought on an ISA part-time who's calling these leads for us and is getting them warmed up or, kind of vetting through like how serious they are, what their timeline is like. And then we can go from there to actually start setting appointments. So I'm very active in the business. A lot of my team is taking on these leads, and many of them being buyer leads, but we also get a lot of listing leads as well. And so I take some of the listings. Most of my team takes the buyer leads, and our production is around, I think, 15 million this year so far. Most of that really just being from YouTube. So it is something that has completely changed my business and completely changed my life, and has forced me to grow in my business and expand, which is what I've always wanted to do. And I know it can do the same for you. And so that's why I love teaching other agents as well how to use YouTube effectively. And a lot of my story starts, 6 years ago when I started YouTube. And I wish I could say that when I first started, it was like, boom, I got all these leads. It was great and everything took off. But the fact of the matter is I was doing it wrong for a very long time because I was just kind of throwing spaghetti at the wall to see what stuck. And I didn't really have a strategy. And so that's why I'm passionate about sharing this with other agents, because YouTube is a lot of work to get started, especially. I'm not going to lie. It's an amazing tool once you have it going, but just to get started, it does take time and effort. And if you don't have a strategy behind it, it gets very frustrating because you likely won't see too many results. And so I went from a situation where I was getting, sporadic leads over time. Eventually that became a little bit more consistent as I built more of a strategy into my YouTube kind of funnel, to about 3 to 5 leads a week. And now I average 20 leads a week. And I made some pretty big shifts. I don't want to say big in terms of what the results turned into, but small shifts in what I was doing in my YouTube strategy that got me from that 3 to 5 inconsistent monthly to 20 a week. That change is something that I'm going to share with you guys today. And then I also have an offer for my moms in real estate at the end. So I want to make sure to get to that too and share that with you guys, special offer that I have. So to get started, I just wanted to know, and I'm not sure if I'll be able to see the chat, but I'd love to know why you're here, because it's probably one of two reasons. Either you're lacking direction on how to even start your YouTube channel, because that can be overwhelming, or you're probably lacking leads. You've started YouTube, you're just not actually seeing the growth that you wanted to see or the lead flow that you're wanting to see. So depending on which camp you're in, the things that we'll talk about today will really address either one of these and help you move forward and get where you're trying to go. And so today I want to talk about how to get started. One of the big things. Now, even if you already have a channel, I think you'll still take away some things that you may tweak in your channel setup before you once you get back into business. But how to start, because building the right foundation is really critical. And that's, going back to my story of like, I was not having any sort of strategy, which translated into a lot of inconsistent results. Starting correctly is super important in building that right foundation. I also want to talk about content strategy, because that's one of the biggest questions I get from people is, cool, like, what do I post on YouTube, right? Like, there's so many different things we can post. How do you define what your content strategy looks like? Because again, we don't want to start this by just posting videos that we think might be interesting, right? And then finally, we're going to talk about the lead generation piece. So how you will actually generate leads from a YouTube channel consistently for free. Everything that I talk about is completely free. I haven't paid for any ads over time to get these kinds of results. It's all organic lead flow. So I want to take you guys back to 2018. This is my original headshot, which is somewhat embarrassing to share for many reasons. But I think if you haven't looked back at your headshot, if you've been in the business a long time, it will probably give you a chuckle if you take a look back. But when I see this photo, it reminds me of the innocence of a new agent. And some of you guys may be in these shoes right now. I know I see a lot of comments in the Moms in Real Estate group in terms of, I'm a newer agent, how do I get leads? And that is really, I think we can all agree, like the slap in the face that you get, for lack of a better term, when you get into this business and you realize how difficult it actually is to get people to work with you. Because not only do you not have a whole lot of experience yet, but you might also be lacking confidence because you don't have the experience, and you're also not getting any leads. And you know that everyone who you thought was going to work with you knows 10 other agents. And it can be a really, really tough time in the beginning. And I certainly went through that. I was bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. I was ready to jump out of corporate and start helping buyers and sellers. And then I realized, whoa, this is a lot harder than I thought. And so I started on a team to get some support, which was really helpful. However, it was a lot of the traditional methods of prospecting, which I will say totally work well. It just wasn't my vibe. So I did everything they said. I cold called, I door knocked, I went to open houses, I told my sphere I was in real estate, I did all the traditional methods, and I did get some business from it. But I have to say, it was so uncomfortable for me. It was not aligned to what I wanted to do. And I thought, if I have to keep cold calling every single day on a triple line dialer in a full body sweat, I can't do it. I'm going to have to get out of this business if this is the only way up the mountain. And so the millennial in me thought, there's a lot of talk about video, there's a lot of talk about social media and YouTube, and all of that makes a lot of sense. I would love to feel the confidence of understanding someone else's business model before I engage to work with them, right? Like, I like to snoop around on the internet and decide if I want to work with someone before I reach out. And so I thought, these methods make sense, that they work. And there were plenty of people using video, using social in 2018, but it wasn't quite as prominent as it is today. And so in 2019, I decided I'm going to go full on into YouTube and see if I can make this real estate thing work. And like I said in the beginning, I wish I could tell you it was like a happy ending right after that, but it took a very long time to get traction. And I didn't get my first lead for a year. And the only thing that I did probably right that first year was that I was consistent. And I posted one video a week without fail. And to this day, I can still say I've not missed 1 week of posting since 2019. So consistency is one thing that's super important. But if you can pair that consistency with an actual strategy, you're going to have so much more success and faster than I did. And so I kind of learned the hard way that YouTube is actually a science, and having the right strategy from the start and building the right foundation will really set you up for faster success, right? So for any of you who are feeling this barrier of I'd love to do YouTube, but I don't want to be on camera, or I've tried to do my videos and they're terrible and then I don't post them, I'd like to share with you one of my first videos because it is pretty rough and I still have it on my channel. But I just want you to see the beginning of this video because it may inspire you to realize that not all videos are going to be good, but this probably got me a lead at one point in time. It built up the foundation of everything that I have. And you shouldn't be afraid to just hit record because you're going to get better over time. So hopefully you guys can hear the audio on this, but I'm just going to play a brief clip here at the beginning. So many things that were rough about that video. If you were able to hear the audio, I'm like blowing out the microphone because I'm talking so loud. I said coming at you multiple times. The topic is pretty boring. It's just bad. It still lives on my channel, but it's just bad. But the only way I got better was putting in the reps. And to be honest, I don't even think I really thought through like, is this really good or bad? I was just trying to do my best and put it out there and hope that something would stick. And eventually things did. So that's your inspiration. If you're one of those people who's like afraid to get on camera or you record all these videos and you never post them, just post them. It's going to get better over time. Now, YouTube is really a powerful tool. If you're not familiar with some of these stats, it might surprise you, but if you're not aware, YouTube is owned by Google. So it's the second largest search engine only to Google, which is super powerful when we're a business that's trying to be discovered online. 82% of US adults use YouTube. 81% of businesses use YouTube. And so us as a business, we should be thinking of ourselves in that way. There's no reason we shouldn't be on YouTube. 122 million visitors to YouTube on a daily basis and 2.7 billion active users. And this is all for free. None of this is pay to play. It's your time. It might be some money in your setup and equipment or maybe editing services, whatever you choose to do. And we'll talk more about how to keep that simple. But it's free to just post a video and get views, right? And 45% of viewing is on TV screens. So the beauty of YouTube is that people are in it for content, long form content, right? They're there for information. Although Instagram is now being discoverable on Google, and there's a lot more to Instagram now, it is also very much a kind of swipe type of app, right? Just like TikTok, you're kind of swiping, scrolling, and you want to be fed what you want to see, and maybe you'll watch a little bit of something, but most of the time you're not there for like deeper research, right? On YouTube, people are. They're searching specifically something that they want to see, and they're ready to sit down in front of their TV screen and watch it. And that's why it can be such a powerful tool in building relationships with great leads and future clients that already have loyalty to you. I just got a text this morning that was requesting that I could be their buyer's agent. It specifically said, "We love your approach to the market, and we're hopeful that you'll consider us as buyers with you." And I no lie, I got that text this morning, and that is the type of lead that comes from YouTube. It's pretty incredible. In addition to that, like I said, it's free. You have visibility on Google. You also have an international reach for no extra cost. One of my best clients was living in Brazil when they discovered my channel, and they've bought multiple homes with me over time. You create a media library. So now you always have this kind of library of videos that you can share along the way with potential clients, or even with your clients if they have questions and you've covered a topic on something, you can just share a video. It allows you to create forever marketing because these videos live on forever. So a video you put out today could bring you leads in 5 years and you never did anything different or no additional work for that. And then a higher conversion rate. So, like I said, these leads are usually pretty loyal to you from the start. And that's pretty powerful. Just a little snapshot in a 28-day period on my channel, I was able to get 30,000 views, which is pretty incredible when you think about how you would have to do that to have 30,000 conversations, right? Like you wouldn't be able to door knock enough doors to have that in 28 days. Now, those aren't all unique conversations, but that's views of people who are interested in hearing more from me. And also 299 new subscribers. Now, I wish that I could, count those all as leads, but you don't get their contact information when they subscribe. However, it's 299 people that now want to hear more from me, right? So that's a good indication of future lead flow. And altogether, again, doing this is free. So your reach is not going to look like this in the beginning, but if it can just outpace what you would be able to do in terms of cold calls in a month or something like that, and knowing that you're building a deeper relationship with these viewers, it's so worth it. And I kind of want to shift your mindset a little bit on YouTube in thinking of it as what I call an attraction funnel. Right. So what we're trying to build is a funnel. And if you're not familiar with that in marketing, it's kind of the top of the funnel is wide and you're attracting people into your ecosystem. And then the funnel obviously gets more and more narrow to the bottom to where you're now interacting with clients, right? The people that want to work with you. So at the top of the funnel is where we're attracting. This is where we're putting out our video content that's going to speak directly to the viewer that we want to come back to us. And through the funnel process, they're watching more of our videos. They're engaging with us through lead magnets, and I'll talk more about that. And ultimately at the bottom of the funnel is where we convert them. So that's where we're going to actually take them from being a lead to a client and then eventually a closing, right? That's the whole goal. And so shifting your mindset to YouTube is you're creating a funnel on YouTube and you're also driving to leads on YouTube, not to views. And I know this can be really hard with any sort of social media, but particularly with YouTube because view count can be pretty low in the beginning. And so when we, put content out there and we're not getting the views that we expected, it can be a little bit discouraging. But at the end of the day, if I had a video that got 5 views, but I got 3 leads, I don't care how many views I got, right? The whole point of this is to drive to leads, not to views. And so the way that we do that is by building this funnel appropriately, right? And so we're starting with our video content strategy. That's going to be kind of step 1. What does that look like? And there's some pieces that I'll talk through to help you define what that should look like. And then step 2, strategic lead magnets. How are we going to use lead magnets on every video so that we do have the opportunity to actually capture these leads? We're in control of it. We're not waiting for people to call us. Finally, getting their email address so that we can get in touch with them and continue to nurture them. And step 4 being that lead nurture and ultimately converting those leads, right? So we'll talk more about this process today, but I just want to kind of shift your mindset to it's not about posting videos and seeing how many views you can get. It's about crafting these videos to speak directly to your ideal client and generating leads off of each video that you put out. So how do we get started? There are a number of things that you have to do to build your channel if you haven't even started it yet. But I'm going to take you through some of those, high level, a few pieces that you're going to have to define in order to get your channel off the ground. So first of all, you need a channel name. And I am very much a progress over perfection person. It makes a huge difference in actually, getting results, right? And so don't feel like you're married to whatever channel name you decide. You can always change it over time if you need to. Some of my suggestions are make it memorable and brandable. So short, 3 to 5 words, easy to spell and say, something that's unique enough to stand out if possible. It doesn't have to be that way. It can just be your name. But, if you do have a team name, a brand name, whatever, use that so that there is some continuity across platforms. Your website name should match similar to your YouTube and your Instagram so people can find you and know that that's you. That's branding, right? Relevant keywords. So anything related to real estate or the location that you serve, all of that is going to help. If you think about, would someone type this into YouTube and actually find me, right? And then audience focused. Are you trying to attract investors, or are you trying to attract buyers or sellers? Whatever that looks like, you may want to incorporate some keywords specifically to that type of viewer that you're trying to attract. And then finally, the personal brand. That's, like I mentioned, having that continuity across platforms, whatever your brand is. Maybe it's your team name, maybe it's your name. For example, my name of my channel is Caitlin McKeague, your Phoenix real estate agent. My Instagram handle is your Phoenix real estate agent. And it's also similar on TikTok. It's not very exciting, but it's very simple, right? We know my name. We know that I'm in real estate in the Phoenix area. And so I'm not trying to veil my channel to be something that it's not. If people are actually looking for real estate in that area, they will likely find my channel by keywords, over time, or at least realize they're in the right place. Now, the channel art is another thing, or it's like your banner art is what it's called in YouTube. And so if you've used YouTube at all, you'll know that this is what happens when you go to someone's channel. You'll see this at the very top. And this is important because it identifies, first of all, with branding of what the channel is, but it also helps the viewer know what to expect from the channel. So you'll notice I have weekly real estate market updates listed on there. And so when someone comes to my channel, they know I'm going to get weekly real estate market updates here. Whatever it is that your channel is about, I do recommend kind of listing that out here so that someone is familiar with what you're there to do or what they're going to see. Also, a QR code is important to add. A long time ago, YouTube used to allow us to have clickable links on the channel. We no longer can do that. So a QR code is a great way to add a link to your website or some sort of lead magnet or whatever that is. And you can make this channel art in Canva. You could make it in Snappa. That's another place, snappa.com. Either way, there's templates for that. And then you just want to make sure that when you're putting your banner art into your YouTube channel, that you see where things are cut off, because for mobile versus desktop versus the TV, this banner art will look a little bit different. And you just want to make sure your face isn't cut off or some of the wording or whatever. You also, depending on where you're at, may need to put your brokerage name on there. So in Arizona, we do have to identify that. You probably do in most states. So brokerage name, what they can expect from your channel, a QR code, and then also a picture of you. So unless you're going to be a faceless channel, a picture of yourself is very helpful because it's, again, personal branding, right? So having a photo of you that's big enough to see is going to be important on the channel art. So I've created a channel name. We know what our banner art is going to look like. And now the channel description is another kind of that third part that you want to focus on. And this is just, you can put whatever you want in there, but I kind of have a formula of what I think works well. There's a lot of stuff on YouTube where everything goes below the fold. So meaning you have to click the more button to see additional information. And so we want to be conscious of that if we're having any call to action or contact information in these sections. Want to make sure that that's all at the very top. And so that's why I recommend starting with your contact information at the top, phone and email, so that it's very visible. And then your channel description, and using keywords in the channel description of what they might find on your channel. Obviously, location, real estate, realtor, a number of different words that you can use that would optimize the description, right? And help the viewer understand what they can find on your channel. Most people aren't reading the description of your channel. However, it's going to help with searchability on YouTube. So adding in those keywords is really going to help. And then I always end it with a call to action. And so I tell the viewer what I want them to do, to either set up a call with me or search my MLS for homes for sale. You could say, text us at XYZ, whatever it is, put a call to action at the very end. So if someone did actually go through and read the description, they know, okay, the contact info is in here. They're inviting me to reach out to them. And you have that potential of someone actually reaching out. One thing that I think we kind of forget about sometimes, especially with social media, is the bigger that we get on social media, sometimes people are intimidated to actually reach out to us, even if we don't feel like we have a huge following. There's a lot of times people are like, oh, they're too busy for us. Or, I'll get a text of like, are you taking on new clients? That type of thing. And so you really have to invite the viewers to call, text, or email you. Sometimes they think they might be bothering you, right? So you actually do need to say, this is what I want you to do. And it's pretty amazing when you start to tell the viewer what to do and what action to take next. A lot of the time they actually do it. And that's true across, I think, any sort of, marketing or social media is having that kind of call to action. And people are like, okay, now I know what to do next. So one of the other hurdles that I hear from agents oftentimes is, I don't know what I need to start my channel. And I want to keep this as simple as possible and as affordable as possible for anyone trying to start and kind of knowing what type of gear they need. And it's really simple. I'm sure you all have a phone, whether it's an iPhone, an Android, Google Pixel, whatever there is out there. Most of the cameras today are pretty good. And I used my iPhone for my videos for probably 4 years before I ever got a camera. And I still sometimes use my iPhone depending on the situation. That will work just fine. So don't worry about a camera. You do want to have some good audio because audio is 50% of your video. So having just a lavalier mic that is affordable, this one is maybe like $30 on Amazon, and I think you get a pack of 2. Super simple. Get that so that your audio is good. I also recommend a tripod because you don't want to be stacking your phone on the top of some books and having it fall over mid-video. It's totally happened to me in the past. Just get the tripod. It's not that expensive. And then you want to have good lighting too. And you definitely don't need a ring light, but if you're sitting in front of a window with a good background, that can work really well. There's a number of different types of lights that you can get as well on Amazon that are affordable. Key lights, even like maybe even a desk lamp if you point it towards you if it's not too bright. So there's ways to just make sure your face is illuminated, keeping it affordable. And then finally, if you want a teleprompter, there is a free website called cueprompter.com. It's CUE prompter.com. That creates a teleprompter for you. You could also just type out your script into a Word document on your laptop and blow it up really big. And then, kind of scroll down in between paragraphs because you're going to have to edit out some things anyway. So that keeps it simple for you to get started. Low barrier to entry. The next challenge that I always hear is about editing, right? And, you can really edit your own videos very easily these days. CapCut in particular is so easy. If you've used, TikTok, they use CapCut. I think Instagram did for a while, but either way, it's still very similar. And you can get CapCut on your desktop for free if you want to do it on your computer, or also it's an app on your phone. And editing can be pretty simple as long as your video is fairly simple too, right? So if you're just doing like a talking head video, all you're doing is clipping out some of the dead space and keeping the flow of the video. If you're going to do something that's more of like a neighborhood tour, still can keep it pretty simple and just clip out the pieces that you don't want in there. But if you don't want to deal with that and you want to pay someone, Fiverr and Upwork, both great places for freelance editors that are very affordable. And you can get that off your plate and get it done well. You just send them the video footage that you have. You explain to them what the video will be like, and they can edit it, let you review it, and they can make additional edits before it goes live. But again, I want to keep this simple for you guys. So, don't start by biting off more than you can chew. Start with an easy video, like a 3-minute video. 5-minute video, whatever it is. It doesn't have to be very long. It doesn't have to be super complicated. And if you let someone edit that, clip it out, they can add some B-roll into it. It will still look good enough to put on your channel and can be simple on your end and also affordable to get started. So I know the next question on your mind is, what types of videos should I be making? And this is probably one of the biggest questions I get from agents because, there's so many different types of videos out there. You see a lot of different people putting out different videos, and it's like, should I do this? Should I do that? And the way that you're going to figure this out is a couple things. First, you need to understand how the algorithm works on YouTube. And so I'm going to explain that to you. It's very similar to all other social media platforms in that they want viewers to stay on the platform watching more of their videos for a longer period of time because they can advertise to those viewers and make more money, right? So YouTube is always trying to predict the content that the viewer wants to watch, serve that up to them, and hope that they click on it and continue to watch more and more and stay on the platform. The only way that YouTube knows what the viewer wants to watch is two things. They know the viewing behavior of that viewer, and they also understand the videos that they can put forward, right? Like they know what the creator of that content, who they intended it for. So if someone watches a ton of dog videos all the time, they know, well, this is a dog video that is really similar to the other dog videos that this viewer watches. So that might be a match, right? And so you have to think about this from the creator standpoint is the content you're making has to be very clear to YouTube what it's about so that YouTube can say, oh, this is about home tours in Phoenix, and this viewer really loves to watch Phoenix home tours, right? And keeping that in mind, you also want to keep that same kind of theme through your whole channel too. So you can see why YouTube wouldn't push out your content if you're posting a video of a Phoenix home tour and then you're posting a vlog of your vacation. YouTube doesn't really understand what is this channel about and who is this content for, because all it's trying to do is make that match between what the viewers want to see and pulling that content from what creators have created, right? So most of the time a viewer comes onto YouTube and they are watching something, YouTube maybe suggests it to them, and they watch the video, YouTube will suggest something similar. So either maybe the same creator or another topic. And then that viewer is going to watch another one of those videos, right? And YouTube's like, okay, great. We're getting them the right content. We know this viewer likes this content from this particular creator or this particular topic. So YouTube will continue to suggest that to the viewer, but it will also start to suggest that content to similar viewers. And that's the key that I want you guys to remember, because that's how you build your YouTube channel. That's where it starts to snowball, is YouTube says, this Caitlin loves to watch dog videos and she loves this very particular type of dog video. Well, there's hundreds of thousands of other viewers out there that like that same type of dog video. So we're going to give this content to all those other viewers too. Right? So now YouTube's now promoting your stuff to everyone else that they think has the same viewing behavior and wants to see it. And so you can probably see where I'm going with this is we really have to be able to define your audience, right? Because if you don't know who your content is for, YouTube doesn't either. And it's just going to die off. They're not going to try to put it in front of the right person. So you really have to define specifically your client avatar. And this is so important in having clarity on your channel, clarity on who you're connecting with. That also will help you. It will basically unlock your content strategy, because you'll then say, I know that my viewer is a first-time home buyer who is, buying under 400,000. They have one child. They're going to expand their family. They are concerned because their parents lost everything in 2008, and they have a lot of fears about buying a home and having a market crash. You've got to get that specific on your client avatar, because all of those things that I just said now allows you to create content around that. You're thinking about not only their desires, but their fears and their questions. And all of that together allows you to think, okay, this would be a good video topic to answer that question and to resonate with my ideal client. So don't skip that step as you're building your channel, or if you already have a channel, I challenge you to think about who is my actual client avatar and how do I make this content that's going to resonate with them? Because everything can kind of take off from there. Now, there's a number of content segments, as I call them, that you can focus on when you're making your content. So now you know who it's for, but now you need to think about how am I going to deliver this content? So you can do educational content, you can do behind the scenes, you could do trending, newsworthy content like market updates. A lot of people who build an audience can do engagement content like Q&As and live streams. Christina Smallhorn, if you've seen her channel, all she does is live streams, and she has a very, very loyal following of people that want to work with her and her team. And she actually refers out business across the country because of that. Vlog style works really well too, home tours, neighborhood tours, that kind of thing. So there's a number of different ways you can put your content out there, but really defining who it's for, first of all, is going to help you kind of figure out what that actually looks like. Now, when we get into more of the actual process of creating content, first of all, you want to think about okay, I got to script this out or I have to outline my video, right? And you can do either way on this. Some people are much better with scripts. Some people are better with an outline. I definitely encourage you to use ChatGPT to help you create either an outline or a script on the topic that you're covering, because it's easier, it's faster, and then you can tweak it to be exactly what it is that you're trying to do. But what you want to think about is in every single video, have basically what I call this video experience map, or this video framework, where we're thinking about 3 priorities. Because one of the things YouTube is looking at is how long a viewer is watching your video. And if they watch to the end, YouTube knows that viewer probably likes your content. But if they click off early, they know that that content didn't resonate for some reason, right? So we're always trying to keep our viewers watching till the end. And when we create our video outline or our script, we need to be thinking about these 3 things. First, having the viewer watch until the end. We also want to offer some sort of free value to the viewer in the form of a lead magnet, which I'll talk about in a little bit. And then a call to action for that viewer to watch another video on your channel, because that will, again, signal to the algorithm that this viewer really likes my stuff, right? So then YouTube will continue to serve up that type of content. Now, just like with short form, it's really important that you always start with a hook on all of your videos, because this is going to get the viewer to want to stay, right? So if you're doing a home tour, instead of saying, welcome to 123 Main Street, we want to be saying, you'll never believe what I found inside this house, or you'll never believe what I saw in this kitchen. However you want to do it. But that is way more engaging to start a video than let's go check out this house, right? So always starting with a hook is going to be really, really important. And the other important thing, 2 things, are going to be your title and your thumbnail. And all of these things, I want you to plan out before you actually film the video, which feels a little bit weird at first. But again, if we're going back to the thought process of being very strategic in everything we do related to YouTube, we want to be strategic with our video. Who is this video for? What type of lead am I trying to capture? And how do I do that, right? And so when we're thinking about structuring the video with a hook, we're thinking about what type of lead magnet we should put in the video. All of that we want to plan out ahead of time, including what that title looks like. And so I use ChatGPT for titles. You can give it a prompt of an SEO top, optimized title for a video about X, Y, and Z. You can also verify that these titles are good by plugging them into something called TubeBuddy or vidIQ. Both are browser extensions. Both have free versions or paid versions. And I really like these because they help you define those keywords, not only in just your title, but also the description. So it's kind of a guiding post as you're going to post your video and optimizing that you have the right keywords in there. Now, all of this could be a little bit more robust with more detailed prompts, and I'll share more about that towards the end. But these are just kind of some checks and balances that I put in place before I even film my video, because I want to know that I'm on the right track with the right title and topic and keywords. The other really important thing is the thumbnail. And I would argue that a thumbnail is more important than a title because just you can see in this picture, if you're looking at the slide I have on the screen, um, I think the thumbnail kind of jumps out a little bit more than the title, if you'd agree, right? Because it's colorful. It has someone's face, it has an expression, it has bold font. You're usually seeing that, especially if you're on your phone, before you're actually reading the title. And then you read the title to kind of see if that title reinforces what you thought the video was going to be based on the thumbnail, right? And we have to remember, if no one clicks, then no one views it. And if no one views it, then no one's going to be a lead, right? So we really have to have good titles and thumbnails that work well together in order to get the view, which will give us the lead. So keep that in mind. Don't sleep on these titles and thumbnails like I did, right? This is horrible. This is from that video that I shared in the beginning. This was not a good thumbnail. I literally, the font is genuinely cut off in that thumbnail, just like it is in this photo. And a lot of things that I'm not doing well here. There's no exciting background. My face doesn't have any good expression. I'm repeating the title of the video on the thumbnail, and it's not even a great title, right? So instead of doing that, think about doing something more like what I have on the right side of the screen here. This is for a market update video as well. I just made it a lot more exciting. So in the video, I was talking about how the market has cooled off. So I reflect that in the thumbnail with the fire and the ice. And then I'm posing a question that fast. So obviously I'm indicating that it's happened quickly, a change in the market. I have a really surprised expression. And then my title of the video is not the same as what I have on the thumbnail. In fact, the title of the video doesn't even say that it's a market update. It just says how the market has cooled. But it is, in fact, a market update. So these are the way you want to think about your thumbnails, because it's really important to be capturing the viewer's interest to even, click on the video to watch. Because if you don't have that, you have nothing else, right? So some of those best practices: don't repeat the title on the thumbnail. The thumbnails are very small, so only 2 to 3 words will suffice. So you don't need to put a bunch of text on the thumbnail. Always include a photo of your face, again, unless you're going to do some sort of faceless channel, but that will help convey the vibe of the video by your expression. And then make sure that it's clickable, like creating some sort of curiosity in the viewer to want to click on that video and watch and find out what you're going to talk about. So when we go to post, there's a few things you want to think about in terms of optimizing. So obviously the description of the video, you want to be using keywords in that description. Again, a little tip, you can use ChatGPT for this. It's really going to help you put in a description that has keywords, make it, faster than something that you can write, and it will work well. Add in tags. There's an option for tags, which are basically like keywords. You can add in up to, I think, 500 of them. Again, ChatGPT can give you tags for your video as well. As you're going to post, you'll have the option to add cards and an end screen. Both of those are pop-ups that will come up at the video on your video at the very end. Both of those are calls to action, telling your viewer to either watch another video on your channel or to click on something that would take them to a playlist, another video. You can even have them click on it to take them to a website or somewhere else off the platform. So all of those things you want to make sure you're incorporating, because again, we're trying to get the viewer to want to engage with us further, whether that be watch another video of ours or check out our website or search for home, something like that. And then finally, the lead magnets. With lead magnets, you want to post them actually in the comment section and pin that comment to the top. So if you remember, I was talking about how a lot of stuff on YouTube is below the fold. And so we want to keep these lead magnets above the fold so people see them and take action by clicking on them. So whatever lead magnet you're using, put it in the comment, pin it, and that will keep it visible on your video. So let's talk about lead magnets and really how we're going to optimize for leads. Because at the beginning of this, I said, you got to change your mindset to we're driving for leads. We're not driving for views. And so what we need to think about is, how are we going to get leads off of every video we post? We might not, but the thought process needs to be there of, how am I going to get a lead from this video? Right. And so if you're not familiar with what lead magnets are, these are really the gold of what we're doing here. And by the way, these work on every social media platform. You can do this anywhere else. And so it's really providing something of value in exchange for contact information. And you've all experienced this as a consumer. You've been on someone's website where they're offering a freebie download, and you're willing to give your contact information for that download because it's so valuable to you. And you know you're probably going to receive emails from them, possibly text opt-ins and stuff like that going forward. And as annoying as it may be, you're still really interested in that freebie, whatever they had to offer, right? We're doing the same thing here. And so it's the attempt to get contact information from a lead, and we can continue to nurture them over time. And you may be surprised, many of them might be ready to work with you immediately. It may not even be a nurture process. So a lead magnet should really be enticing to where it could solve a problem or promise a quick win. It should be really high value, instantly accessible. All of those things are going to make a good lead magnet. For example, an ebook, a free guide, all of those things. And here's some that have worked really well for real estate. For buyers, a relocation guide is always good. A discovery call, which is just a free consult with you or your team. Home searches for buyers, just a link for them to search your MLS for homes for sale. Most of us have a IDX website, or that's a form on our or a page on our website, and so easy to set up a custom search. And you could do a million different lead magnets with this: homes with pools, 2-story homes, homes built in the last 5 years. You could go on forever with different particulars and filters in these home searches and use that on different videos. Now, what you want to remember with the lead magnets is they have to be relatable to the content that you're talking about in the video, because if not, there's a big disconnect there. So you want to make sure that whatever lead magnet you're using is related to what you're talking about in the video, and you actually call it out as well. For sellers, they're always looking for data. So I find that, things like instant home values work really well for sellers. Also, like a market snapshot, days on market in their neighborhood, any sort of data like median home prices in their zip code, in their city, anything like that. Sellers really want information on. And oftentimes I have these listed, and I actually do have to manually pull the information. But if I'm going to get a lead for it, I think it's worth the time to pull the info and give them a call to deliver it, or email, text, whatever it is. So those are some lead magnets that have worked well. And what I really want to kind of come back to and remind you guys of is the attraction funnel. So you can kind of see how this works, right? We've defined our content strategy around who we're trying to actually attract. And so when we know our viewer, we're going to start to make the content that attracts them to us. And they'll start to engage with us because they'll continue to watch our videos. They'll start to click on our lead magnets and give us their contact information. And we can engage with them, nurture them over time, drip on them, and eventually convert them to actual clients, and then work with them until closing. And so that's how we're building this funnel on YouTube to actually get clients, not just posting videos and hoping for phone calls, because that can work, but it's going to work. It's going to get tiring and it'll take a long time. And you'll just not get as many leads as you can when you're using something a little bit more strategic like this. And so when I shifted my business from doing more of this, post and pray method, I guess, to actually, being more strategic with everything I was doing and turning it into what I call this 4-step attraction formula, that's where I saw the big shift between getting 3 to 5 leads a month to 20 leads a week. And I was just speaking with another agent who is on YouTube, has been on YouTube for a while, but hadn't really been using lead magnets and started to implement them the same way that I've shared. And she's now seeing about 3 leads a week consistently, and previously was just kind of getting some calls here and there. So it really does work when you break it down simply to actually telling the viewer what you want them to do next and giving them that option to engage with you. It's as simple as that. I wouldn't say it's simple, but the mindset shift, right, is just tell them what to do. So this attraction formula consists of a competitive analysis. We didn't talk much about that today because I only have an hour with you guys, but that's really understanding the landscape of YouTube and where you fit in as a creator on YouTube. And then, of course, defining your client avatar. So important, really understanding who it is that you're talking to, which will then, like we talked about, help you build your content strategy. And in every video that you're making, using that video experience map where you're starting with a hook, and you're making sure that you're incorporating a lead magnet, and you're asking them to watch another video on your channel or take some sort of action. And you're planning this ahead of time, right? You're doing this before you actually film the video, so you know what the flow is and how you're actually going to get this viewer to engage with you. And then finally, step 4 being those lead magnets, being really specific on who you want to target with each video, what type of lead magnet would be interesting to them, and then how are they going to actually get that information from you and give you their contact info. So when you start implementing something like this, it really, it starts to build, and that's where you start to really actually see the lead flow. That's how you will attract leads on YouTube and actually be able to convert them. And so, like I shared in the beginning, I know it can be overwhelming to start a YouTube channel. I've been there. I floundered for way too long trying to figure things out on my own, thinking that I was doing the right thing and not really having a strategy. And so that's why I'm passionate about sharing this now, and actually created a course called YouTube Without Overwhelm. And the cool thing about this is it also leverages AI to help you get your channel up and running quickly. So as I mentioned a few times, using ChatGPT, in this course, I actually have specific AI prompts that you can use to help you with all those pieces of building your channel, taking that friction out, making it a lot easier to just get it up and running and get going, right? Progress over perfection. So I normally offer this for $497. I'm offering it to you guys for $297 as the Moms in Real Estate group, but I also know how important it is to have some feedback, right? So I want to offer a 30-minute strategy session as well with this if you sign up today. And these usually are paid. I'm going to offer it for free just so you can get some feedback on your channel, whether it's before you do the course, after the course, whichever you prefer. But that way we can kind of troubleshoot and talk about the challenges you're having and hopefully get past those so you can get on your way to actually generating leads. And finally, I also want to offer to my Moms in Real Estate my list of high converting lead magnets. So all of this together is usually $747 for you guys. If you scan the QR code, I can only offer it today. And I can only offer it for the first 5 people who sign up for the course will get that free strategy session. So act on it quickly. You can scan that QR code. The course is also available, past today. So if you do want to jump into that at a later date, you can. But this whole, what I'm calling a masterclass bonus bundle, that's only available today. And the strategy session is only for the first 5 people that sign up for the course. So that QR code should take you there. And I know I have a few minutes, so I'm happy to answer any other questions that you guys have.
Okay, well, I got to jump back here because I was checking out over there. I started my channel while we were on there. So I started Escaping the Suburbs with Randy. So anyways, I'm excited to dive into this. And you gave us so much goodness. And I hear this all the time, I just don't have enough opportunities. I have agents in all different markets, and I take, I do calls obviously for moms in real estate. And that's probably one of the number one things I hear is I just don't know where to generate it. And then the fact that you were saying that they come to you and they're saying hey, would you consider us? Would you work with us? Right. I just think that that's so much more different. So can we really quick, I have one question, and then we actually have about 6 or 7 that have come in on different platforms. And again, if you're in this Zoom room and you're watching, or this stream room, make sure you drop yours here. But one of the questions that that I have is just around like expectations. Somebody comes in, they go all in for 6 months. What do you think that they can like honestly expect to start to see in return?
So I think it does depend on your market because some areas are really saturated with other agents. But if you do follow these steps and have more of a strategy, I do think that you can start to generate leads probably around that maybe 4-month mark ish. So by 6 months, I do think you should have had some lead flow, whether it be, just a phone call or an inquiry or someone you're nurturing, or if it's actually someone who says like, hey, can you help us? We want to check out these homes this week. It's kind of a roll of the dice on what you get with the leads. It's across the board, but that's the whole point is once you start going and you're rolling, then the more you get, the more it's like, well, these are the nurture and these are the right now. And you can just kind of work with that over time.
Yeah, I think that's really good. Okay, so one question is, can I do this without hiring a full-time video team or an editor?
100%. Yeah. I didn't hire an editor probably I didn't hire an editor ever until I wanted to do professional listing videos, but I edited everything myself. I definitely didn't have a videographer or like editing team at all. You can totally do it yourself. Just phone and figure out the CapCut or some other AI tools that help with editing, or just ship it off to Fiverr for a quick edit and film it yourself, but keep it simple.
Would you also say like, so I've tried to scale some of this stuff and I've tried to like hire. And one of the disconnects I found was that when I hadn't actually walked through the process, and it's funny because I say this all the time to agents. I say you don't have to learn everything the TC does, but I feel like in something that's more, I don't know, maybe it's more creation. I don't know when it comes to content, I feel like we kind of need to understand it ourselves before we can expect somebody else to build our brand.
Yeah, and I think that comes from like setting good expectations. Like we talk about this with like VAs too, right? Like we're never going to hire a VA and just be like, go do this, right? We're going to say, here is the SOP on how you do this so that they do it the right way. And it's the same thing with any sort of videographer or editor, where if you have the creative idea, you want to make sure that you're giving them exactly how you want it to look and turn out. And they love seeing any sort of inspiration that you've had. So, that's all more related if you're doing something that's a little bit more than like a talking head video, right? Those are pretty simple to edit. But neighborhood tours or something a little bit more in depth, you can definitely share the inspiration where you've gotten it and kind of explain to them like, this is the flow, this is how I want it to look. Or tell them, take the creative, wheel here and make it what you think would look good. You could also do that. But yes, I don't think you have to have edited to be able to like get something good, but you do have to be fairly specific on what you want it to look like. Otherwise, they're not going to know.
So good. Okay, so Jessica, who is actually in here with us, has a question. How often do you recommend posting on YouTube? Are there any recommended days, times for posting at peak reach?
Yeah, so I recommend posting once a week. Whatever it is, consistency is king over anything else. If you're starting out, once a week is really good. If you can't do that, do every other week, but keep it consistent. Pick a day and always post around on the same day and around the same time if possible. Once you do start to get some traction, you can look in your analytics and it will start to tell you when your audience is on YouTube, similar to Instagram and other platforms, and you can post based on that. But also thinking about like what your content is, right? Like, so for me, it's more detail, market updates, data and stuff like that. The people that are watching that are usually at work during the day, and maybe they work from home. But so I post on Tuesdays at 4 p.m. And I've done live streams on Tuesday at 4 p.m. and I get a lot of viewers at that time too. So that time works well for content. I know there's agents who post their videos on Saturday mornings, some that post on Friday evenings because their viewers, are relocation buyers and they're sitting down with their family to watch the video about moving to Phoenix, right? They were watching the neighborhood tour. So it really depends on your content. But I also don't think it's that critical. It's more critical to be consistent and post on that same day every week. And eventually the people who want to see you are going to catch your video when they can.
Okay, so we had another one. What kind of videos work best for helping families that are relocating?
Yeah. So people really want to see where they're going to be. And I would think about it in terms of like, if you were going to move somewhere you've never been before, what's going to be helpful for you? And so a lot of the time that's vlogging type tours, right? This is what the downtown looks like. This is what this neighborhood looks like. And it's known for XYZ. This is what you'll get in a typical home in this area. Homes over here are newer and they feature these things. It's really, I would do a very, very much like a vlog style if you want relocation buyers and just give someone a great idea of what it's like to live in the area.
Okay, so hyper local
Mhm.
for relo.
Yeah.
Okay, we have like 6 more. I don't know which one to pick. We are at time. And don't forget, Caitlin is also offering that strategy session, so you can ask her questions there. But how do I guide people from YouTube to my email list that feels natural and not sleazy?
Lead magnets. So anytime they click on something on your channel, whatever you're offering for free, so that's the relocation guide, that's the CMA, the home search tool, whatever that is, they get dumped into your CRM through that lead magnet, and then they're on your email list.
Okay, I love that. And I'm making sure that we're going to put this on our social as well today. So, Caitlin, thank you so much. And thank you for the killer offer. For all of those of you that are watching either one of the live streams now or in the room, I highly suggest jumping in and taking advantage of Caitlin's offer because we are going to email it out to our entire Moms in Real Estate community. But thank you also for showing up and giving value and putting people in a position that they can go and make progress today. And so let's see. Do we have an Amazon card giveaway? Do I not know about that? Or is that just something random? Is that like spam? I don't know what that is, but I don't have one. You don't have one either, right, Caitlin?
I don't have one.
No, we're just gonna help you to level up your YouTube and get business for good. So thank you so much, friend, for joining us here today. I super appreciate it, and I will see you very soon.
Yeah, thanks so much. Bye,
Caitlin,
guys.
also, what's your handle on Instagram so somebody can connect with you there as well?
Yeah, it's
Oh,
on
it's
the
right
bottom
there.
of that slide. It's your Phoenix real estate agent.
Perfect. We'll drop that in the replay too. Thanks so
Cool.
much, Caitlin.
You're welcome. Bye,
Okay,
guys.
bye.